The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation,
This is actually a requested video, and this is the inconvenient truth about the Democratic Party.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation,
Founded the Ku Klux Klan. That's actually insane. Is that correct?
The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s.
Whoa.
In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But
guys, all this information is completely new to me. Completely new to me. As you guys can tell, if some of you guys don't already know, I live in England. I have a British accent, as you guys can tell. So all this information is completely new to me. I had no idea about any of this when it comes to the Democratic Party. So that's actually insane when I'm thinking about it. And I'm someone who's very curious and interested in American politics and stuff like that. It's something that interests me. And I do want to get more into it and do more research. It's actually crazy hearing all of this about the Democratic Party. And there are so many, black people especially, that claim to be Democrat. And this is the foundation. Interesting.
Legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935.
That's crazy.
But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal...
Considering that there are so many black people that are Democrats, that is information that should be really crucial, that I think everyone should know, especially black people, that the founder of the Ku Klux Klan was a Democrat. That's actually insane. That's crazy. Wow, this is information that they definitely are not going to teach you in school.
Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats. As President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act, I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
Wow. Guys, that is shocking. That is actually shocking. And learning, I remember in secondary school, we were always made to think like the Republicans in America were bad and the Democrats were good, especially if you were a black person and you know, were like conservative, or you kind of seemed to be on the conservative side. You know, even in England, in Britain, people would kind of be like, are you okay? Like, you know, but learning this is kind of crazy because, you know, there are a lot of Americans that are taught about the Democratic Party, and you see, especially with Joe Biden, and how, you know, he's all for the blacks and, you know, he loves black people so much. And this is the history of the Democratic Party. Like, this needs to be showed in schools. This needs to be put on adverts. Like, everybody should be aware of this information so they can make informed decisions. Because at the end of the day, the media indoctrinates people and tells us what to think and what to believe until you actually go and seek stuff for yourself and do the research and find out information for yourself. I mean, even just the election, because I've been kind of following the election, the American election. I mean, I'm currently in America right now, which is kind of crazy, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But, you know, Joe Biden, he's not fit to be a president, and he is definitely incompetent. Yet there are still some people supporting him and rooting for him and telling him, oh, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that I'm Trump's biggest fan, but Joe Biden is not the one. He's most definitely not the one. And it's just crazy to see, wow. I mean, Black Democrats should be absolutely fuming, angry with all this information that is being shared. This history is crazy, and wow, Black people need to wake up and hear this. Black people need to wake up and hear the truth. And I think there's a surge of it. I think more Black people are becoming, you know, more open-minded and wanting to hear the truth. But yeah, guys, if you want to see me react to more of this kind of stuff, and you guys want to see me go down this journey of learning more about American politics, then you guys should definitely comment down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Patreon for access to early content, and if you guys want to see stuff from me. And I'm gonna try and come back and be consistent with my YouTube videos. It's been a while since I've really, you know, sat down and just like filmed and dedicated time to being on YouTube, and I apologize guys for the really inconsistent uploads. Kind of lost my mojo for a little bit, went through a lot of stuff, but I'm back now by the grace of God, and hopefully I'll be back with better videos that you guys can enjoy. So I love you.